Hi guys, it's Chris, back in my cider shed with another cider to try. And the last two films we did two Kingston Blacks with Gloucestershire versus Somerset. Two totally different ciders, totally different. And we'll have something very different again today, because we're not in Gloucestershire, we are not in Somerset, we're in France. Oh yeah, we are in France. And we're going to have a Kieve cider from Boissel. There you go, there it is. Not had this before, not seen this one before. It's a new one on me, so that's quite exciting. 2019 vintage, 5.5%, which means it is Brut, because as we all know by now, when it says Brut on a bottle of French cider, it doesn't mean how sweet it is. It's to do with the ABV. If it's over 5%, it is Brut, and this is 5.5, therefore it classifies as Brut. Fifth generation cider makers. They've like 50 different varietals they use for all of their products, so the Perry, like the Poire, the Perry stuff, Calvados, all that kind of thing, because they're Calvados producers as well. Let's open it. Let us open it. Is it going to blow up? Nah, I reckon it'll be fine, this one. I reckon it'll be fine. So I put the unpasteurised apple juice in the fermenter today. So let's see what happens with that. That's quite exciting. See what happens. I assume there's going to be yeast in there and it will ferment naturally with wild yeast. Don't know though. If not, I'm going to have to go and get some yeast and add it. Don't want to do that though. I just want it to do it naturally because I want to see what the result is. But anyway, let's get this cork out if we can. Yeah. Pop. Nice pop. Lovely bubbles. Pour it out. Reasonably clean glass. We've had cleaner glasses lately. This isn't the cleanest, but it'll do. So look at the mousse on that. Exactly what you'd expect. And of course, nice amber colour from all those lovely tannins. Look at that. That's a nice colour, that, isn't it? That's a lovely amber. Beautiful thing. Head died down pretty quickly. Lots of fine bubbles in there. Love Kieve cider. I love Kieve cider. For those of you who don't know what Kieve cider is, well, it's a fining process. It involves pectin and bubbles, and the pectin rises to the surface and takes out nutrients, which means that the yeast don't have enough nutrients to do the full fermentation. So basically there's residual sugar left over from the apples. So it's sweet, but naturally sweet from the apples. And you get a different sort of sweetness to things which are back sweetened and stuff, you know. It's got much more an appley sweetness. It's often baked, tatartin character to it, which I love. Love, love, love. Let's smell it. Yep, and this has it. A rich apple character. Gorgeous aged apples, baked apple. Slight tartar character in this as well, I think. Lovely. Hints of spice. Mouth watering. I'm going to drool on myself. I mean, it's not totally in your face, but what's there is really good. Really, most people who discover cider, who didn't previously like cider, this is the sort of stuff that does it. Breton cider, Normandy cider, Kieve cider, you know, well-made cider. I mean, so much crap about, you know, just having one good cider can be a revelation for so many people. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Hint of pastry maybe. Let's try it. Ooh. Super bubbly. Super bubbly. Quite firm tannins for French cider, actually. Quite firm tannin, which is what the colour suggested. I think traditionally what you would do to Kieve is you'd let your apples macerate. You press them, let them macerate. Certain pectin enzymes would come into play, or the enzymes would break down pectin acids, and then blah, blah, blah. It would react with calcium chloride, or salts, that you actually add in the liquid when it's in the fermenter. That would form the gel. So it's, I think letting it sit for that sort of maceration actually gives colour, because as it sits and macerates, the tannins oxidise and become brown, and also the tannins soften as well. So often I find that with a lot of traditional French ciders, the tannins tend to be less. I mean, it could be to do with the varietals they use as well, and so many other factors, but that's just something I've kind of thought, maybe that's why you get less tannin, because it didn't macerate the apples, gives it colour, softens the tannins. Who knows? I mean, they don't. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Right. It's nice, this. It's nice. Let's try a bit more. I was yapping too much. Yeah, firm tannin. This is actually pretty dry. For a French Kieve cider, this is pretty dry. And those tannins are quite assertive. Gorgeous. kernel of dry, rich, aged apple right in the middle of my palate, which is bringing a bit of acidity as well. And they tend to be lower in acid as well. I think they tend to use like bitter sweets. They don't use sharps as much as like the sort of Somerset cider makers would use, in my experience. I think because keeving is dependent on pH, so if your pH is too low, your juice is too acid, it won't work. Something that James Marsden told me at Greg's Pit. So yeah, so I'm assuming that's why the pH tends to be not too low in these sorts of apples, in sort of ciders as well. But these are all just things my brain's just working. I haven't read that anyway. Just sort of assuming. This is nice. It's very dry, but it's rich with that dryness. And I think a lot of people who don't like sweet ciders would actually go for this because, I mean, how much sugar is in this? Not very much, and it's only 5.5. So there wasn't much sugar in this apple to start with, obviously, because the residual sugars you would get are natural sugar from the apple, and this is 5.5%, so it's not a very high ABV. You normally expect apples, if you just let them ferment to dry, to get to at least a 6. I mean, is this bone dry? I mean, maybe there's a merest suggestion of sweetness, but that might just be to do with that rich apple character. It is a pretty dry Chive cider from France, I have to say, and I think that makes it stand out a bit. It's pretty rich. Tasty though. Yeah, I like this. I like a bit of sugar. I have a sweet tooth, so I don't mind sugar in Chive ciders. However, I think there's place in the world for this. There really is. This sort of slightly drier example, I think, works well. It's got that, intense apple character, but without that overall, that sweetness that puts some people off. Weird people off, in my opinion. So there you go. That was pretty cool. I like this. So Cidre Brut, 2019. 2019 might just have been quite I don't know what the vintage was like. It might have been like a cold year, so I think it was sugar in the apple anyway. But from Boissel, Père et Fille, Normandy cider, just outside of Pont-l'Evêque, I believe. So maybe I should try and get some of that cheese to have with it going forwards. That would be a good idea. Yes, it would, Chris. Glad you agree. All right, guys, so there you go. A nice French cider. We'll be back with some more English cider tomorrow. But until then, as always, I want to say thank you for joining me and cheers.